Good evening and welcome to the Metaphysical Bible Hangout. I'm Reverend Sherri James, Senior Minister for Understanding Principles, or better known as Up Church. And I am broadcasting from a different location tonight. I'm actually in the church office, and I'm really excited about that because it's just awesome that I'm here. Oh, I forgot that the phone could ring. Oh, if it does, just forgive it, and I'll figure out how to mute it. I realize I've used cell phones for so long, I've forgotten how to use landlines. So I actually consciously do not know how to mute the sound on this phone. So, we'll deal with it. But welcome, everybody. I am excited to be here. We are talking about guidance. And this is going to be, I think, one of our best conversations. I really enjoy preparing for this lesson. And I'm just excited to share with you what the Spirit has given and what is before us. And so the tag for this is the skinny on divine guidance. And I hope to say something tonight that really changes the way that you look at divine guidance and think about divine guidance. Our outline, I've got a couple of announcements. Then we have opening prayer. And then we're going to talk about why prayer matters. And then we're going to talk about the purpose of divine guidance, the standard for divine guidance. We're going to look at 4 methods for confirming guidance, and then talk about this with just what is the skinny on divine guidance, and then question and answer. Of course, I encourage you to ask questions throughout. There's no requirement to wait until the end. If there's something that you need clarity on, please raise the question. What's your why? Why the Bible Hangout? Why every week? And why free? This Bible Hangout is so important to me. I organize my life literally around this production, if you will, because I think that this kind of teaching you need in your life on a daily basis. I think that it's important. I think that it makes a difference, and I think that it should be available to whomever. And I always imagine that there's some young person somewhere, male, female, who sees one of these videos and says, you know what, I've got something that I have to give to the world, and I'm not going to stop until I do. And so, it's with that intention that the Bible Hangout has been going on for the last 3 years now. The Bible Hangout is free, but it does cost. And so I encourage you to consider making a gift to it. You can go right to revsherri.com. A gift of any amount is deeply appreciated. And I just want to thank you for everyone who has already made a gift. I thank you so much for that. The way that this series works is that there are 3 parts. There's always a blog, and that comes out on Thursdays. There's always the Bible Hangout, that's Thursday night. And then there is the mastermind group. And the mastermind group meets on Wednesday nights at 6 o'clock. It's a telephone call, it's a conference call, and it's actually set up where you dial in from your phone. What I will say, because those of you that have dialed in, apparently some of the cell companies are charging now for quote unquote long distance calls, which that's crazy, right? But that's a whole other thing. What I do know is that you can get the app from the Play Store or from iTunes, and you're able to actually dial in over the internet for free. So there are many ways to be able to participate in the Hangout without having to spend money to do it. It should, in my opinion, I want it, not the Hangout, excuse me, the mastermind call. Constance says 3 years. That's commitment. I'm committed. I'm in for the long haul. POT is coming. So excited about this. I want to encourage you. I'm going to be announcing this every week because the way the cost works, you'll probably want to do a payment plan. And truly, if you just get started, you'll get there. If you just get started, you'll get there. And I know this from just my own experience. If you just start putting one foot in front of the other, doing what you can be in Montego Bay, Jamaica with us August 9th through the 13th. It's going to be amazing. I cannot, nothing I say will oversell it. How about that? Nothing I say will oversell it. And so you can go right to ufbl.org and begin to make a payment plan. If you have any trouble, you can actually call the church office and we will work with you to do your payment plan. Alita said, what's the name of the app? Free Conference Call HD. Free Conference Call HD. So you absolutely can you absolutely can be in Montego Bay. It's going to be amazing. Like, make a point to be there. I can't wait to get there. The Constance says, POT, I've got my room, the swim up. And the swim up room, literally, like, of course, there's an entrance from the hotel, from the hotel side. But outside your balcony is your own private pool. What? Amazing. So I'm just telling you right now, plan, do what you can, get there. It's going to be amazing. We always have the best speakers, but it's just a transformational experience, and nothing I say can oversell it. And I was laughing earlier. I just saw Eves. He says, hello, everyone. I thank God for my cubbies. Who I can't imagine who doesn't know that the Chicago Cubs won the World Series last night in a freak of nature. Or not, I don't know, but I predicted that the Cubs would win, not intentionally, but somehow on game 5, I think I congratulated the Cubs on winning the World Series. And just to prove that, I really don't know much about baseball, I didn't even realize it was game 5. I do know that there are 7 games in the World Series, but hey, I messed up. So, so if you're on the newsletter, we're taking a survey for where we're going next. You get to decide where we go next. And if you're on the newsletter, you got the link, and I did not do the survey in the video. I'll have the survey next week, but meaning the survey is ready, but I didn't do the one that would allow me to do it through the webinar. But I want to know where you guys want to go. You guys throw out some really great things. We talked about discover the power within you. We talked about the impersonal life. We talked about gratitude. We talked about faith and the book of Proverbs. What else did we say? Your life, why it is the way it is and what you can do about it. So, we had a couple of directions that we could go in. And so if I want to know where you want to go, you can put it in the comments today, because that will be considered as well. And, we'll be able to look and see where as a group we want to go. We're going to do the prayer series. Actually, let me look at my calendar. This prayer series is going to end. So the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be sending you PDFs of the material to take a look at. It'll be some stuff from Charles Fillmore and some stuff from Neville Goddard. So I may as well talk about holiday schedule here since we're doing this. So we have 2 more sessions before the Thanksgiving week. We will not, of course, meet on Thanksgiving. So the 10th and the 17th are the last 2 dates for the prayer series, and then we'll start the new series. So this is going to give me about 3 weeks to prepare. So if you let me know what you're interested in, then that'll give me a window of time to actually think about think about the material, delve into it, get prepared for it. And so just if you could let me know that would be great. All right. The scripture for this series is whatever you ask for in prayer with faith, you will receive. Whatever you ask for in prayer with faith, you will receive. And the scripture is Matthew 21:22. And so if you would just become still and just allow your attention to flow to the presence and power of God that indwells you. And we just give thanks for this platform. We thank you, God, for this opportunity to come together and to study in this way. We thank you so much for your spirit, Father. We thank you so much for everything that you're doing in our lives. And we just ask that that we become an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let us sow love. Where there is sadness, let us sow joy. Where there is discord, let us sow harmony. Wherever we are needed, wherever there is chaos, let us sow peace and order. Let us be instruments of your divine wisdom, your divine kingdom here on earth. We thank you for guiding and directing us so that we will make right choices on behalf of the people that we individually serve. Thank you, God. I know you hear me when I pray. I affirm this in the name and the nature of Jesus the Christ, and that's how I'll let it be. And so it is. Okay, the card that we see every week, why prayer matters. Prayer is your only means of knowing with certainty and clarity that a course of action is right for you. Prayer is your only means of knowing with certainty and clarity that a course of action is right for you. Even if you take a course of action and things work out, right? You still don't know if the course of action is the right course of action. It just worked out. What you want is clarity that the direction that you're moving in is the direction that you are supposed to be moving in. You want certainty that the decisions that you are making for your life are the decisions that you should be making for your life. And the only way to get to it is prayer. Now, there are lots of different types of prayers. You can go back over the series and look at the different types of prayers that we talked about. But in essence, prayer is your means for knowing with clarity and certainty that you are moving in or have moved in the right direction. And so there's no getting around it. You got to pray. I had a teacher that said, if Jesus prayed, don't you think you got to pray? The purpose of the divine guidance. Within you are books unwritten, songs unsung, gadgets unmanifested, feats unaccomplished. Divine guidance is your only means of knowing whether the seemingly insignificant thing you are doing right now is the thing you should be doing. Just get that. Divine guidance is your only means of knowing whether the seemingly insignificant thing you are doing right now is the thing you should be doing. There is a book, and I have mentioned this book before. Hold on. How do I go back? There's a book, I've mentioned it before, by Jeff Olson, called The Slight Edge. And he says something that I think is powerful, which is that it's the small everyday actions that are taking us where we're going. And Will Coleman says, you don't have to wonder where you're going. You can just look at what it is that you're doing today. So life is not this mystery that we have made it out to be. The things that we are doing are adding up. The things that we are doing are adding up, and they are becoming something. They are taking us somewhere. And so if you can imagine that the thing that you are doing right now is adding up to something, it's becoming something, right? It's becoming, it's leading you in a particular direction. What you want to know is it taking you in the right direction? Is it taking you toward the full expression of who God created you to be? That's the question. Is it taking you there? Or is it pulling you further away in consciousness from that? And divine guidance, the purpose of it is basically for you to be able to understand, is the choice that I'm making right now the choice that I should be making right now? And one of the things that occurred to me as I wrote today's blog piece is that as a human race, we have developed and we continue to develop systems that help us understand what to choose and how to choose. In fact, No matter what course of study you pursue, every lesson is for the purpose of essentially helping you understand how to make the best choices to bring about the greatest success possible. If you want to care for the sick, every course you take teaches you what choice to make to best care for the sick. If you want to build an airplane, every course you take is going to tell you what choices to make to build the best airplane. So the essence of every educational system, I don't care what it is to teach you what and how to choose. But this is the challenge with this, is that established systems for making choices cannot account for what never has been done before. All the learning systems, nursing and airplane building and engineering and dancing and you name it, they cannot account for what has never been done before. And you and I are not put here to do what has ever been done before. Just sit with that. Let that roll around. You're not here to keep the status quo. You have that within you that is meant to come forward that makes life better, not just for yourself, but for all of humanity. And it has never been done before. Of all the things that have been done, raising the dead, healing the blind, healing the sick, causing the deaf to hear, causing the dumb to speak, healing the lame, building airplanes, building cars, building faster cars, creating processors for computers, coming up with a hot air balloon. Of all the billions of things, trillions of things that have been done before, God still has something that he wants to do through you that has never been done before. And the problem with established systems of learning or education is that they can only account for what has been done before. They have no way to help you for what has never been done before. When Steve Jobs worked with Steve Wozniak, they couldn't rely, they relied somewhat on existing technology, but there was nothing like it for the stuff that they were coming out with. So if they were making decisions based on old things, we never would have these incredible devices that we have with us now. They wouldn't exist. So established systems for making choices cannot account and cannot help you for what has never been done before. And so in order to fulfill your divine assignment, in order for you to bring forward that which has never been done before, you're going to need to rely on divine guidance. And that's why I said within you are books unwritten, songs unsung, gadgets unmanifested, feats unaccomplished. Every decision you make, from what you put on your body to what you put in your mouth, to where you work, to who you talk to, every decision you make draws you closer or moves you further away from fulfilling your assignment. And what divine guidance shows you how to do is to choose your way into the full self-expression of who God created you to be. Divine guidance positions you to do what has never been done before. And so in the absence of you leaning on divine guidance, you don't know. You don't know, am I moving closer to where God wants me to be? Or am I just kind of out here waiting in the wilderness? Some of us spend a lifetime in the wilderness and never get into the promised land. We could have within us the cure for cancer. We could have within us the cure for AIDS or something else. But will it come through us based on the choices that we're making? There's a young lady right now, I think I highlighted her before, Dr. Hadiya Nicole Green. I think she's just fabulous. She is essentially working on a cure for cancer using nanoparticles. And her great aunt and her, I don't know if it was a great aunt, but it was her aunt and her uncle raised her. She was orphaned at 4. And the aunt developed cancer. The aunt called it woman's cancer. So she doesn't, Hadia doesn't know whether or not it was, cervical cancer or ovarian or whatever, but she figured it was one of those two if it was woman's cancer. And the aunt refused chemotherapy because she said she would not ever allow her body to go through the ravages of that. And so Hadia nursed her until she passed away. A short while later, her uncle, who also helped raise her, developed lung cancer. And she cared for him and was able to nurse him back to health. And he lived for another 10 years until the cancer consumed him. That experience of cancer touched her in such a deeply personal way that she decided that there has to be a better way. And she decided if it hasn't been done before, then maybe it's up to me to do it. And so she goes to college and begins to pursue a degree in physics. And her reasoning in terms of part of what guided her research is that if we can tell from outer space that a dime on the ground is face up or face down, then how come we can't have that level of clarity when we go inside somebody's body with cancer treatment? She also felt that if we were in a room and we could ring a cell phone in a room full of people and ring only one cell phone and not all of the cell phones, then why can't we have that level of precision with cancer treatment? And so that began to guide her and how she looked for her solutions. She actually has uncovered a way to treat cancer that shrinks tumor cells inside of 1 to 2 hours. She's in the beginning stages of her treatment where she's working with animals. She's a ways off from human trials, at least 10 to 15 years possibly off from approval by the FDA for the protocols and all of that. But essentially, she's discovered a cure for cancer. There is that within you that has never been done that the Spirit wants to do through you. You need to know that the choices that you are making today are either leading you to the expression of that or keeping you away from the expression of that. And the only way to do that is through divine guidance. No, your mama can't tell you, your daddy can't tell you, your friends can't tell you, your spouse can't tell. No one can give you the skinny on whether or not what you are doing right now is moving you into your promised land or keeping you in the wilderness. And you might be having a good time in the wilderness, so you may not even think that you're in the wilderness. Andrea says, we are not here to maintain the status quo. God still has something he wants to do through us that has never been done before. I needed that word tonight, Rev. Thank you. Yes. Constance says, wow, discover the power within you. Let that Christ light shine through. Yes. Yes. That's it. When Mary Tompkins said that, I cannot claim that quote, but Mary Tompkins said that. She said, you're not here to keep the status quo. She was so ornery with her spirituality. It's like, what are you doing trying to copy off of somebody? You're not here to do what somebody else has done. Olga says, well, one must be willing to eliminate all the negative to let the light shine. Yes. But here's the thing. If you will just begin to put one foot in front of the other, moving in the right direction, the negative will naturally fall away. Two thoughts can't occupy the same space at the same time. If you will choose the positive thought, the negative thought will die away. Lot's wife, the reason she died, meaning, remember, in the Bible, we're each of these characters. Lot's wife calcifies, turns to a pillar of salt, waiting to be blown away with the winds of time. But Lot had to keep, and women in the Bible represent our feeling nature. That tug that you have for what you don't want, if you will just start walking in the right direction, those feelings will calcify and for the winds of time then to just come and blow them away. So you don't have to fear longing for something all your life. If you will just start moving in the right direction. Sometimes we won't start a diet because we're afraid that we won't be able to deal with the cravings. But it's just all feelings are equal. Grief, the desire for candy, the desire for a drug, all feelings are equal. If you just start putting one foot in front of the other, the feeling itself will not be able to hold on to you. And so the way that you know that you're moving in the right direction, you got to go to God for that guidance. There's no there's no real way around that. So the standards for divine guidance, she points to James 3:17. But the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruits, without certainty or insincerity. When it's pure, it's free of selfish motives. When it's pure, it's free of selfish motives. It's not about personal gain. When it's peaceable, it promotes harmony. And I'm sorry, let me back up because I want to talk about this selfish motive. It does not mean that there's not a benefit to you. There's absolutely a benefit to you. It does not prosper God for you to not have what you need, because now you're consumed with trying to figure out how to get what you need. So somehow we've equated, a lot of people have equated selfish motives with somehow denying the need for basic necessities, like enough money to pay your rent or enough resources to get where you need to go. The selfish motives mean that it is win-win for all. I'm not trying to get for me and nobody else has. But when it's pure, your needs are met as well as the needs of everybody else. So there's no loss on any side. It's peaceable. It promotes harmony. It promotes harmony. It's gentle. It's considerate and courteous. It's open to reason. It allows for discussion. It can be modified, and it's ultimately logical. And this is important because so many times we drill down, and what really happens is that we decide what we want and we dig our feet in the sand. And that is how you know for sure that you are not dealing with the wisdom from above. There are no feet dug into the sand with the wisdom from above. It is full of mercy, meaning that it's compassionate. It has good fruits. It serves the best interest of everyone. This is probably a hard one for a lot of people, because we live in a world, many people see life as a zero-sum game, meaning that there are winners and there are losers. It is challenging for us to see that we can live in a world where everybody wins. We always think that somebody has to be a loser. And even, with elections and other things, we treat them as if we are in this, fight to win, and somebody has to lose in order for me to win. And in the kingdom, everybody wins. And so it is shifting your worldview to grasp that it is possible to live in a world where you win and everyone else wins. Everyone doesn't need the same thing at the same time. And depending on where someone is in their spiritual journey. So you don't have to be afraid that your winning takes out of somebody else's pocket. That there is enough to spare and to share. And so it's good fruit. Good fruit benefits everybody. It is without uncertainty and insincerity, meaning that it is impartial, it is straightforward, it is free of doubt, and it is honest. It is impartial, straightforward, free of doubt, and honest. The way you know is it you or is it God? Is it convoluted? Is it convoluted? You got to do a whole lot of explaining. If you got to do a whole lot of explaining, with God, it is clear, like crystal clear. And you don't have to, what's the word? There's no worry with that you can you can develop yourself in a way that is where there's just order and harmony. There's no chaos. There's no chaos. The scripture says God is not the author of confusion. And so if there's confusion, it ain't God. It ain't God. So I want to give you 4 methods for confirming divine guidance. 4 methods. So number 1 is to take specific action. This is probably one of the easiest ones because it takes specific outer action. The thing about spirit is that spirit is easy. There is always flow. The ease with which you move forward or not can confirm guidance. And so what you're looking for is like, how easy is it for me to pull off this thing? Like if you're seeking guidance, right? How easy is it for me to do what I think I'm being led to do? So when it was time for us to go to seminary, one of the things that Reverend Sherri said was, this has to be easy and effortless. It needs to be covered. It needs, and all this. And at the time, it was, as a church, it's like, we don't have the resources to pay for this. How is this going to go down? And I felt led to go ask Reverend Della to, for the church to help us, cover it. And she then turned around and made an appeal to Chaz Dean, to Roma Downey, and Mark Burnett, and they both said yes. And so essentially, Sherri and I were put through seminary by Chaz Dean, Roma Downey, and Mark Burnett. How's that? And so there was just flow, and and in terms of just the ease with which it came together, there, not that there was not effort, but there was not struggle. And effort and struggle are not, they don't go together, right? And so you may have to put forth effort, but it will not be a struggle. And so if you're struggling, then it might not be, it could be the right thing, but it might not be the right time. There's a timing with God. And so that if you're running into roadblocks, it might be time to just kind of fall back and say, what's the right action to take today? What's the thing that I need to do today that is the right thing for me to do versus what I think I need to do? And so if you take specific outer action, it will help guide you in discerning whether or not it is what you should be doing. Number 2, check your gut. All choices produce feeling in the body. All choices produce feeling in the body. You want to become sensitive enough to notice how you feel after certain decisions. And I can speak to this personally. A few years ago, someone that I was connected to in a relationship asked me a very simple yes or no question that would essentially have taken the relationship to the next level. As the question was being asked, my stomach literally turned. And within moments, I had to go to the ladies' room. And here's what you should know about me. I have the stomach of steel. I do not get sick. I do not, I don't have enough, I used to joke, I wish I had something, because then I wouldn't, some of the stuff that I like to eat, I wouldn't have to be tempted by it because my stomach wouldn't be able to take it. Not me. I have the stomach of steel. So the moment that this question is being asked of me and my stomach starts to turn, that was an indication right there. There was an indication right there. The other thing that happened is that I was involved in a club, and it was an investment club, and I would be in knots leading up to every meeting. I mean, I would pull overnighters. I would stay up all night trying to read every stock page that I would read, that I could put my hands on. And, trying to make sure that I had a qualified opinion to be able to say that the stocks that I was covering for the group, that we were making right decisions for them, because I felt like so much was riding on it. And And I didn't want to quit the club because this was part of my financial freedom plan, and there were so many things. But the thing is that your body will tell you if you are moving in the right direction or if you are not moving in that right direction. I would get headaches. It's just, I would literally carry aspirin because I would get a headache so powerful that I would literally have to pull over to the side of the road and sleep it off so that the headache would pass. Like, it would be that bad. Your body will tell you. Now, I'm not saying that your reactions will be as strong as mine are, but every action produces a feeling in the body. And so you can know if you're moving in the right direction by the way that it makes you feel. Constance says, Abraham, your guidance systems tells you if it feels good, do it. And if it doesn't, don't. That's it. That's it. We have built in, Abraham calls it the emotional guidance system. We have a built-in system for knowing, is this the right direction? And the gut, if you do a gut check, your gut will let you know, don't go in that direction. That's not for you. And how many times have we gone down the road and say, you know what, I should have followed my first mind. Once we have lived whatever the thing is that we were trying to like experience, and then now come out on the other side and it's not, good. It's like, I should have followed my first mind. Number 3, pray about it. Pray about it. You can ask for signs. You can ask for signs. I posted a video of no, not that's not what I want to talk about. Sometimes we don't immediately know what to do, and the answer feels like it's far away. But the thing is that we are always connected to spirit, and spirit has the answer, which means we already have the answer within us. And so she says, ask in prayer to be given 2 signals, one that will always mean yes, and one that will always mean no. And she recommends making this request when there's nothing on the line, meaning you don't have any pressure to produce an answer. And so it can emerge within you naturally. But one of the things that I do when I don't know like the right way to go, I will just begin to say, I am now quiet enough to hear spirit guide me to the right course of action. I am now quiet enough. And sometimes it comes as explicit. When I affirm that, sometimes it'll come as explicit instructions, and I'll say, okay, that's the way I'm supposed to go. And then sometimes the circumstances will begin to configure themselves. But if you will just begin to affirm that you are moving in the right direction. I shared a prayer last night that I used on the call, that over the mastermind prayer call, over our offering every Sunday, what I pray is, Spirit, I ask for your divine guidance. I ask you to inspire the leadership of this church to make right use of the gifts that you have given us. I recognize that this is God's church, not Sherri's church, not Della's church. This is God's church. And so God will guide and direct, protect and prosper, and will teach us how to get to where he wants us to go. And so it is affirming that. And I do it publicly, one, because it's important for me to teach our people that this is how you get divine guidance, but it's also an affirmation of the truth, which is that we're calling forward what we need. And I am now quiet enough to hear the voice of God inside of me. I am now quiet enough to hear the Spirit show me the right way to go. And you can do that. You can do that with show me the right things to put on today for clothing, show me the right way to go to work, the right route, every step along the way. Olga said, that's true. And we don't often pay attention and do just the wrong thing, which often costs us. Yes, I have many burns on my butt from following my second mind, my ego mind. The 4th method, you can actually just choose a signal. You can actually be bold and claim what you need to see in order to have confirmation. You can be bold and claim what you need to see in order to have confirmation, and you will always receive the confirmation you seek. Chaz Dean tells this incredible story. I posted the video on the blog post today, so definitely go and take a look at it. But he talks about the process of just developing his career. And so when he got ready to move his location, there were a couple of things that were happening. He was a stylist, and he said, as a stylist, we don't have a 401k. There's no such thing as that. And so I wanted to be able to make sure that I was provided for in my retirement. And so I wanted to, to find a way to develop a retirement plan. And so he decided he wanted to purchase a building, and he was in church and listening to a sermon that Reverend Della was giving. And she said, sometimes you got to take a big leap. And all he had to his name was $17,000, and meaning that he had saved up from, his work as a stylist. And so he took that money and he was going to use it as a down payment for a building. And so he began to pray and meditate about it. And he started asking God for signs of spirituality. And as he continued to meditate on what he wanted for the salon, he wanted fountains, and he wanted to be an oasis, and he wanted it. And he had all these things that he wanted. And then he began to look for the property, and he was working with a real estate agent to find the property. And they ended up in Hollywood. And the thing is, this was before the Renaissance in Hollywood. Those of you that don't live in Los Angeles, you may not know this, but Hollywood was a really seedy place. And there's still some areas in Hollywood that are deeply seedy. But a lot of developers came in the last, I would say 10 to 15 years, and really renovated Hollywood. And so it's gorgeous there now. I mean, it's, we've got Hollywood and Highland. We've got the Kodak Theater, or it's not the Kodak anymore. It used to be the Kodak Theater. I can't remember what it's called now, but where they hold the Oscars, and it's really, really nice. And so the prices have shot up. They put in Katsuya came in. That's the Japanese restaurant. And I mean, it's just good stuff, right? And so, but when he's looking for property in Hollywood, this is before all of this starts to happen. So he's unaware that, or it may not even been decided, but there's nothing happening as far as the renovations that are happening in Hollywood. And thank God he was smart enough to listen to the wisdom of God. And he was concerned because he thought, how am I going to get my, Tony clientele to basically come from Bel Air, where he had been, and Beverly Hills, to come over to this dank area of Hollywood. Like, how is this going to happen? And so he ends up, following through, and he sees one property, and it's a nice property. There's a homeless woman that is asleep next to the building that's there. And so they say, oh, no, that's not the one. And so they go and they look at the next property, and that's definitely not the one. And again, he had been praying for signs of spirituality. And as they're driving back, his friend who's with him says, if that's the property for us, then that homeless one will be sitting up smoking a cigarette. He was like, don't say that. Don't come up with something crazy. And the friend said, look, you asked for signs the way you need it. I'll ask for signs the way I need it. When they get back to the property, the woman is literally sitting up smoking a cigarette. So of course they're like, oh. And they get out, they're looking at the property again, like, oh, this could be it. And I don't remember how the conversation gets started, but essentially Chaz asks the woman her name, and she says Spirit, and he does a double take, and he says, what? And she pulls down her glasses, and he said he looked into the bluest eyes he had ever seen. And she said, I said Spirit. Now, here's the thing, and he says this in the video. This woman didn't have blue eyes. Ask for the sign that you need. You can make it up. If this is the right thing for me to do, then this will come about. But go look at the video. It's on the YouTube page. You can ask what you need. You can ask for the confirmation, because see, you want to bring forward the game changer. People were doing co-washing to a degree, but here he comes with this product that is essentially co-washing, right? It's washing with a conditioner, and starts and contributes to an entire movement, but develops this multi-million-dollar, multi-billion-dollar product line. This young man who was a hairstylist to the stars, but who essentially, when he started, had only $17,000 to his name. The Spirit wants to do through you what has never been done before. When Hair and Body Care by Chaz Dean had never been done before. Yeah, people were saying co-wash, but nobody had created a product that they then took to market. And he'll tell you this story if you get a chance to talk to him, how he relied on divine guidance to understand how to bring that product forward into experience. You've got this idea that and one of the things that he was always afraid of through the process was that he would be crushed by companies like Johnson & Johnson and Paul Mitchell and other companies that had massive market share, who, could look at what he was doing and just, basically shut him out of the industry. And so he kept praying for the right way to bring about what he was doing. And the Spirit brought him to Guthy Ranker, so then he doesn't come through the traditional retail route. He comes through the infomercial route. The Spirit knows how to bring you through whatever idea you have, whatever that idea is. The Spirit knows how to bring it out into expression. If you will ask for that guidance, show me how to bring this forward. I have asked for a solution to the police brutality. I have no doubt that the Spirit is going to give me a solution that I can bring forward into expression. No doubt. If you lean on divine guidance, you plus God is a majority. You plus God is a majority. So you can bring forward whatever it is. And it's not a matter of whether or not you have a platform. Chaz didn't have a platform when he got started. He does now. But he didn't have a platform when he got started. He had some fancy clients. We all connected to fancy people. But are you bringing forward the game changer that is only yours to bring forward? So the skinny on divine guidance. The bottom line is that every decision you make matters. The truth is that you have complete control over the direction that the rest of your life takes. You are becoming that which you habitually do every day. If you want to fulfill your divine assignment, then you need a way to know that the thing that you are doing right now is the thing that will draw you closer to the fulfillment of your divine assignment. Only divine guidance can confirm whether the choice you are making in this moment right now is doing that. No person can give you the confirmation that you are taking the right steps. You and we have to make time to get in touch with the Spirit and to ask for that divine guidance. The future of the planet rides on the decisions that we make. And that may sound like a bold statement, but I want you to consider this story from Claude Bristol's The Magic of Believing. He writes, another example, and one of the most outstanding, is the story of how Uncle Tom's Cabin came into existence. It will be recalled that it was written by a wisp of a woman, Harriet Beecher Stowe, whose name will be remembered as long as there is American history. In 1850, Mrs. Stowe swore a solemn oath that she would write something that would make the whole nation feel the accursed thing slavery is. For 2 months, she tried in vain to think of the story which was later to shake the world. In February 1851, while she was attending communion service at the college church, there came to her mind the picture of Uncle Tom and his death. According to the story, Mrs. Stowe went home in tears, and when she had written out the scene of Uncle Tom's death, and read it to her family, they too were in tears. She did a great deal of research work in trying to secure factual material. But when she actually sat down to write, she needed none of it. The story obsessed her and literally wrote itself. Out of her subconscious mind surged long forgotten memories and photographic impressions, which arranged themselves almost automatically in proper sequence on paper. Mrs. Stowe didn't think out these incidents and their background, she actually saw them. And while in her time little was known of the subconscious mind, it is obvious that it was the source of this story, which many claim brought on the war between the states. Mrs. Stowe, to her dying day, insisted that it was God and not she who had written this book. And so the question that I have for you is, what is keeping you from seeking divine guidance where you need it? Did this lesson change the way you think of divine guidance? What are you seeking divine guidance on? Leave a comment on this YouTube video for this lesson, and I will privately send you a prayer of agreement. I stand with you. I know that the Spirit has something special that it wants to do through you that has never been done before. And I want to stand in agreement with you that you can get quiet enough to hear the leanings and the whisperings of the still small voice and bring it into action. Questions? Any questions? Constance says, my, I'm always so inspired by your teachings and so gung-ho. We got to get out there. We have stuff to bring into expression to change this planet. And that sounds like a bold statement, but everything God does lavishly and abundantly. I mean, the wind, no matter what happens with the climate, the wind is persistent. That there's a consistency and a faithfulness, right? There's a lavishness and a consistency to the way that the Spirit does anything. 23,000 different known, always have to say known, species of trees, 20,000 different known species of bee, 11,000 different known species of moth, 2,000 different known species of roses. Whenever God does anything, he kind of goes on overkill. So whatever the Spirit, and remember the consistency, right? With the consistency, there is not a moment in the history of humanity that the sun has not, quote unquote, risen, or the earth has not turned on its axis, ever. Trees, the reason we can read stories from the past and understand them is because the basic essential nature of the people, places, and things remain the same. Trees never act like flowers. So when you read about a tree in a historical account, you know what they're talking about. Flowers never act like trees. So when they speak about a flower, you know what they're talking about. There's a consistency. There's this faithfulness to God. Clouds, when they talk about, when Elijah talks about the servant coming back and says there was a cloud the size of a man's hand. We all know what that looks like. Even though this is thousands of years ago, because there is this this consistency, this faithfulness, right? So that means that the way that the Spirit wants to bring it through you is no less lavish and no less abundant than anything that the Spirit has ever done before. Unobstructed, when God gets to express through someone unobstructed, it always comes through in the most amazing, game-changing way possible. So it's imperative that we begin to open up and to begin to say, I am open, Spirit, flow through me. I am open, express through me. Express through me now. Be who you want to be through me now. Express how you want to express through me now. I am open and receptive to a degree that I have never been open and receptive before. Right now, the blocks in me are being dissolved. The resistance to the expression of God is being dissolved back into the nothingness from whence it's come. Bring your game changer through me now, God. This is what's possible. When you open up, it's as lavish as the 23,000 different known species of trees. Because God is faithful. Whatever he ever does, he's always doing. And so the question is, can you get quiet enough to hear the voice above the distractions? Ray says, this is a very powerful lesson discussion, something that is long overdue. Thank you. Constance says, yes, I'm rereading Pulley's Abundance Gift that you gifted me. It's a great book. Started again this month. Yes. Ray says, this is something that involves a deep commitment. However, I do know that I won't be completely satisfied until I fulfill it. That should read. Yeah, I got it. Olga says, thank you for this powerful. This is powerful for me. Something was missing and it's all coming into focus. Knowing God's grace is working through me. Yes. Constance says, for abundance, I watched the show How It's Made, from potato chips to jelly beans. Abundance. Yeah, that's a good show. I haven't watched it, but that is a good show. That's it. We have so much to bring forward. We have so much to bring forward into expression. And it's lavish and it's abundant and it's game changing. It's game changing. Unobstructed. George Washington Carver, when the Spirit flowed through him, he got the opportunity to basically pick apart the peanut and develop 300 plus products from the peanut. You know how small a peanut is? From a peanut. There are mysteries yet to be experienced. There are mysteries yet to be unfolded. But the question is, will you open up? Will you open up? See, in my opinion, this is what people should be teaching in the pulpit. That's just my opinion. Yvette says, thank you, Pastor Sherri. I've got a new mindset now. Yes. Yes. We have so much work to do. People need what we have. People need what we have. Flat out need what we have. People are suffering. And we have what it takes to alleviate that suffering. So next week, what I will do is I will send out, I should have done that today. Oh, well, anyway, it didn't work out. It didn't work out. Next week, I will send out the PDF. It'll be some stuff from Neville Goddard on prayer. And we'll work from that next week. And then we'll close out with Charles Fillmore. And then by that time, you guys will have told me where you want to go next. We will take a break over the Thanksgiving week. And then we'll have some time between now and Christmas. And I always take 2 Thursdays at Christmas. So I take let me tell you what those dates are now. Thursday the 22nd and Thursday the 29th, we won't have class. So we'll have 3 classes in December, the 1st, 8th, the 15th, and then we'll be down until the 5th of January. All right, have an awesome, 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 awesome week and weekend. If you are in Los Angeles, I hope to see you at Up Church. And thank you everybody who came out for worshiping in color. It was amazing. I sent out the link to that so you can hear Reverend Meg's um, uh, sermon. It was phenomenal. And thank you. Have a great night. Eve says, thank you for a powerful teaching tonight, as always. Yay. Thanks, God.